Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Shawn Mackey Show. He's so unpredictable. Mother Nature calls him for advice. I am one pissed off, happy camper. What the fuck does that mean? I gotta tell you, I don't even know. So, we've always given you a little behind the scenes here at the Shawn Mackey Show, and I'm going to tell you what I have struggled with Season 2, Episode 1. But here we are, and welcome. I didn't struggle in a sense that I couldn't find what to do or what to talk about. I found plenty of things to talk about. I recorded several episodes to upload for Season 2, Episode 1, and I have run into snags every step of the way. Now, some of those snags were that the fucking Cubs pissed me off. Some of those snags were due to other issues. I recorded what I thought was the actual episode I was going to upload, and I decided to put it on YouTube at the makings of the Shawn Mackey Show on my YouTube channel, which I only use to try to promote the podcast for Spotify and Apple. But I do some of the behind the scenes, and if I have some blooper videos or, something of that nature, I can upload it there. And I decided to upload the whole episode after I went through and I added spice to the episode. I promised you all season long, Episode 1, I was going to spice up the show. So I went to Pixabay, and this is where you can get the license to free music and sound effects and all this stuff. And I decided to record a bunch of promos and intros and outros for the show. And I downloaded these background music and sound effects and things. And as I've told you, I always wanted to work in radio. So part of what I'm doing with the podcast is teaching myself how to edit and prepare these audio clips and sometimes video clips for the YouTube channel. So I created a bunch of stuff. I recorded this final episode. I added in sound effects and transitions and just a whole intro and outro and a whole bunch of stuff. And I uploaded it to YouTube, and I get hit with a copyright tag. So it wasn't a strike or anything. It wasn't a bad thing, but I woke up at like the day after I posted the video, and I'm like, it's got this word copyright, and I'm Googling why. And so they tell me what it is, and I'm like, and I freak out. And I had uploaded the same video or a clip of it to my Facebook page and profile. And then, so I like panic and I delete everything. So I'm doing all this research, trying to figure out why. And I don't know. It's Pixabay is a free, you're supposed to be able to have the license. I read all the license for everything I downloaded. And it was basically like the way I interpreted it. It said, if you use this in something new, great. And you can do that. And even if you want to monetize whatever you're using it for. And I specifically said podcast when I was Googling information the first time. And then, it told you what you can't do with it. And I was like, okay, well, all right, I'm not going to you can't use it as a standalone product. Like I can't download it and try to sell it to you as my own or attach it to anything that I'm trying to sell. Can't use it in a defamatory or moral, ethical, things of that nature, which I get. I thought I was pretty clear on this. I created all these sound effects and intros, outros, promos. Hell, I did fake commercials. So I was going to interject throughout the show, just like little fake commercials for like Mackey's Bar and Grill and Chucker Automotive. And I live on a street called Chucker. So it was shit I made up. But I used all what I thought was free sound effects and things of that nature. And it got tagged. And I've been doing a lot of research and I can't figure out why. I actually, in that episode, sang the Chicago Bears fight song without using the music or anything. I just literally sang it. So I thought that was it. So as I was researching YouTube, it was telling me that you could go to YouTube Studio and upload, and it would tell you if there's issues. So I created a clip of just me singing the Bears fight song and uploaded it to YouTube, and it said no issues. And I was like, what? So then I re-uploaded the other video that I had deleted and left everything the same, and it was like no issues. So I Google, could I still get a strike? Yeah, you could still get it. Like, so I guess I don't understand the whole copyright thing. I wanted to spice up this show with sound effects and background music and intros and outros and things of that nature that would kind of, you know, make you feel comfortable and say, hey, man, I like listening to this dude's show, because the bottom line is we want people to listen to our shows when we're doing our podcast. So, wow, that's my little 7-minute rant here to begin the show. If you tuned out, fuck, sorry. If you're still here, well, we're going to get to the heart of the matter of what I had said in like those 6 episodes that I pre-recorded and never uploaded. I ended season 1 and I had the episodes in the bag like sometime in the July 6th or 7th. And so I started preparing for season 2, and then I started seeing things on Facebook. We were getting close to Bears mini camp, and I'd seen some posts and news articles that the Bears were going to go after a couple of players, Jamal Williams, Matthew Judon. Can't remember the other guy. It's not important because that episode got deleted. They did bring in Jamal Williams for a tryout, so to speak. So we'll see where that goes. And then after seeing that post on Facebook, I saw another post on Facebook in which someone had commented about it was a Bears page, and it was like, hey, anybody remember Craig Hayward? And I was like, yeah, that's Ironhead Hayward, Cam's dad, you know? And so this dude commented back, and he's like, yeah, Craig Hayward lost out to the Heisman Trophy to Ickey Woods. And I started thinking, I'm like, wow. So there's season 1 episode, or season 2 episode 1, and parts of season 2 episode 2, great NFL nicknames. So we're going to get into that in a little bit. But in that episode I recorded the other day for this season 1 episode, I had a funeral, and I had funeral music, and I was doing all this talking like this, you know, for funeral. And I presented a eulogy for the Chicago Cubs. I'm here to tell you, I'm officially putting them to bed this season. I woke up this morning and they were 6.5 games back in the NL Central, and the Brewers just keep winning and the Cubs can't figure it out. And I feel like I've talked this shit to death, because all I'm going to end up doing with the Cubs is bitching about what fucking Jed Hoyer didn't or did do that either came to bite him in the ass both ways. And I'm just pissed off. And part of me wants to tell you, I hope the hell I come back, you know, later in the season toward the end of September and say the Cubs got their shit together and they're going to the playoffs. Right now, you're banking on the wild card, and you may not even get that either. So I don't know. I laid them to rest in that episode. I had funeral music. I had a eulogy. I had it all. But again, I had so much stuff in there that when I uploaded it to YouTube, I don't know what got tagged for the copyright. So I ended up in frustration deleting everything. So here you go. This is this week's episode. So I'm a pissed off happy camper because, again, I'm pissed off because of what happened and transpired with all the episodes. I'm a happy camper because I really liked what I saw in the Bears' first preseason game. Am I thoroughly impressed? No, probably not. There's some things that need to be worked on. But from what I saw, you have, first of all, you took the lead, and then Miami came back, tied the game. You ended in a tie. You didn't end it in a loss. Your offense, some things aren't gelling. I'm very high on Tyson Bagent. I like the kid's potential. I don't care if people think he has a noodle arm. I think if you're a coach and you've got a quarterback on your roster and you know what his strengths are, that's what you should go with. So he had some issues in the beginning. He had done some really good things that I liked. it was kind of out of sync offensively. I like the Dennis Allen defense, the fact that they're actually pressing, playing more man to man. You're not going to see that soft bullshit zone, which, in my opinion, as a coach, and I coached the zone in high school. I was a freshman coach. I didn't have a lot of say, but it was the same defense we ran at the varsity level. I hated every minute of it because if you get a decent quarterback and a good coach on the sideline, you can pick apart a zone all day long. And I saw it and witnessed it firsthand, all personal and shit like. And that's what I'm going to tell you right there. I hate a zone defense. It's good in certain situations, but you can't rely or play a zone all or the majority of the time. You will get picked apart by great quarterbacks. You will get picked apart by good quarterbacks, and you will get picked apart by average quarterbacks who have a good or great coach. So I'm impressed what we saw. We had a few injuries. The Bears made some roster moves. They signed 4 defensive backs, made a few, waived a few players. John Jackson got waived, kicker Jonathan Kim. I mean, with Cairo Santos, did you really think that Jonathan Kim had a shot? But maybe he did some things and somebody else will pick him up. John Jackson, I think that dude had a couple of drops in that game Sunday against the Dolphins. I'd have to look into it a little bit more. But they got some guys going on the injury list. One of those guys got, Sean Wade, he got put on the reserve injured list. They waived Major Burns, injury designation. Like I said, John Jackson, Jonathan Kim. But they signed Millard Bradford, Mekhi Garner, Caleb Hayes, and Mark Perry, all guys that came into the league around 2023 or so. So they're young. A few guys have bounced around, played in the UFL. So we'll see how those guys pan out in the future for the Chicago Bears if that happens. Austin Booker, I think he had a pretty good game, I want to say. I thought that was a guy, like when I read an article that said they were going to bring in Matthew Judon, here's an older guy kind of past his prime in Judon, and he had some injuries and whatnot. I wasn't a big fan, and I had said, look, you're looking for another edge guy. You got Montez Sweat. You got Odangbo. So give Austin Booker more of a chance. I think he had a strip sack, maybe 3 sacks or something, 6 total tackles. So I liked what I saw from Austin Booker. So there's some work to be done with the Chicago Bears, but it was preseason game 1. We didn't see a lot of starters. Braxton Jones stock rose a little bit. He did pretty well for the time that he played on Sunday. I've been on the guy's ass all the time. We'll see. I know Ozzie Trapillo, they're very high on that guy. And boy, what a behemoth that dude is. And he had a pretty decent game. So we'll see how that plays out for the Chicago Bears as we get deeper into the season. I was originally going to record myself watching the game so that I'll have video clips to upload. Now, those I'd better not get in trouble for. But the problem is, I got to make sure that the video's not recording the sound from the TV because I'll be afraid I get a fucking copyright ding because they can hear the goddamn Bears game in the background. So I don't know. If I put the headphones in and hold the phone, I might have some crazy angles videos. So like I said, for the YouTube channel, I can pop those in up there and then show you some crazy ass shit in the makings of the Shawn Mackey show. So like I said, I got into this episode where this post was made on Facebook about Craig Ironhead Hayward. And then it took it further and they were talking about Ickey Woods. And I'm like, wow, great NFL nicknames, right? So I'm doing some research. I'm looking at some nicknames. And the first time I do it, like I come across, 5 of them, maybe 6. I think I got an honorable mention in here. So 6 of kind of like the best I just saw, boom, right away. And then next week's episode, I found a whole shit ton more that I like. And we just want to have a conversation about that, right? We're into football season. It's Chicago Bears. It's NFL talk. Let's not just keep this solely to stats and bullshit like that. things that you can see all the time. Let's kind of dive deeper into some of the shit and things we see in the NFL. So we know Craig Ironhead Hayward. And this was a dude, you have to imagine a guy that was a wrecking ball with a bowling ball on top for a head. And this was Craig Ironhead Hayward. And I know this dude, I think he's like 2 years older than I am. So we came up playing football in the same era. And I know I was kind of taught to lead with my head. So I know this dude led with his head. So he got this nickname because he was like a battering ram and he just used his head, Ironhead. And he was a big freaking dude, but he was a running back. And he put up some great numbers. May he rest in peace. Right. And he's got some sons playing in the NFL, and that's a great thing. But like I said, I know he led with his head. Hey, I was taught like you pull in your neck, you pull in your neck, put your head up tight, and you put your face in their numbers and wrap up. Okay. Well, last time I checked, the face is attached to the head. So yeah, you don't want to put your head completely down and expose your spine and your neck. You want to pull all that shit in tight. And then you lead with your face, which is attached to your head. And I guarantee you, running backs dip and they go down at the point of impact. So you got your head up, boom, helmet to helmet, head to head contacts being made, chest to head. So you're leading with that head. And I know that was Craig Ironhead Hayward. And then we got Icky Woods, who, I'm thinking, man, if I played with a guy named Icky, I'm pretty sure he got his nickname because he stunk. Like I'm talking like had a stink that never would go away. He'd show up to the game stinking. He'd play the game. He'd leave the facility stinking. And he'd show up to the bar that sponsored your team later still stinking with a much worse stunk and stank than he had before. And that's why we would have called a guy named Icky. And if they played like walk-up music when a guy came into a game at a football stadium, I'd think they'd play, Bring in the Funk, and it wouldn't be because the dude could dance. It'd be because he stunk, right? But no, Icky doesn't get his nickname because he stinks. He has a younger brother. Icky's born Elbert, and his younger brother can't pronounce the name, so it comes out like which turned into Icky. So good thing that I don't know if Icky stunk or not. I didn't play with the guy. So someone else would have to confirm that down the road. But a good thing that he didn't get the nickname because he stunk. So those are a couple of great nicknames in the NFL. And so that led me to look at and think of a few other nicknames in the NFL. So one of them that I came across, like for my honorable mention here, looks like is a guy named Corey Johnson. And he once joked that his often fluctuating weight was due to his frequent defecation, and they gave him the nickname Poop. Hey, Poop, how you doing? Where you going, Poop? You going to take a poop? I mean, how would you like to be that guy and you get stuck with the nickname Poop? Jiminy Crickets. So here's a number. Here's a guy, and I had the pleasure of meeting him. He comes in at number 5. This is for the Chicago Bears fans. I am Chicago Bears biased, and this is Gale Sayers, the Kansas Comet. So he owned a company in which a company I worked for had warehouse space in the same building. And one day I was there loading up the warehouse and transferring product from the warehouse to where we actually placed and sent the orders out, like through UPS and all that stuff. And he came out one day and I saw him and I'm like, oh, Mr. Mr. Sayers, I love you. I'm great. Hey, how you doing? You got to go. So like, kind of met him briefly and nothing really happened of it. Right. So that was really cool time in my life. And so number 5 for us is the Kansas Comet, Gale Sayers. Right. And he gets this nickname by the director of sports information at the University of Kansas. So he's had that since he was in college. So number 4 for us, or for me, is Broadway Joe Namath. You just got to go with Broadway Joe. Dude played for the Jets. He lived a flashy lifestyle, and you got Broadway Street. Had the pleasure of being there on a couple occasions. It's a great place. I always would love to go back and visit downtown New York and Broadway. Did not have great numbers. I think he only had a 50% completion percentage throughout his career. Best known for the victory over the Colts in Super Bowl III in January of 1969. But I know as a kid coming up, I read reports or saw things like the dude wore pantyhose while he was playing instead of socks, or under his socks or something. And you know what? I get it. That's like probably kept his ass warm playing in New York, right? And that's where the advent of the Under Armour and the spandex and all that shit come in, probably. So and the fur coats. You've seen the pictures of him with the fur coats. So that's Broadway Joe for me. Got to go with Broadway. Oh. All right. So coming in at number 3 on my list is another Bears connection. I knew it was when I saw it, but it was like he gets his nickname from when he's playing with the Eagles. But we've got another nickname here for former Bears quarterback Nick Foles. So we know what he had done. Super Bowl, crazy playoff run, right? I think he's the only other guy to beat Tom Brady, or one of the other guys beside Tom's dad, Eli. And so Connor Barwin for the Philadelphia Eagles once states that Nick Foles had the largest penis on the Eagles roster. And then the reference becomes more improbable because of that said playoff run in which the Eagles get their first Super Bowl victory. So he's known as Big Dick Nick Foles. Big Dick. Big Dick. Why can't I stop saying Big Dick? Don't listen to this episode when your children are around. Nick Big Dick Foles. What? I'm so sorry for that. Now, number 2 on my list is a dude with the nickname of Dump Truck. And this one really hits me in the feels. I can relate to a guy with the nickname Dump Truck. I feel like this is a guy that John Madden would have loved talking about on broadcasts. Dump Truck just feels right for a guy like me, right? Dump Truck made the tackle. Dump Truck with a tremendous block. Hey, you know what, Pat? I love this Dump Truck. And look at here he is. He's a big guy. He's built. He looks like a dump truck. And he's going to come in here from the outside and then whoop around back to the inside. And he's going to make a great play right there, Pat. And that's a terrible John Madden impression. But guess what? Either stop playing the podcast or listen to it. But Najee Davenport, no, he gets this nickname because apparently there was an incident that occurred when he was in college, right? So don't really know what that is. It's also kind of a throwback to Jerome Bettis, who was nicknamed the Bus, which maybe we'll get into that throughout this season. But Najee Davenport, nickname Dump Truck. Okay. And now, that's my terrible impression of a drum roll. But because I'm having those issues with the sounds and shit, maybe you just got to give me doing my voice and making my drum roll and something like that, right? So drum roll, please. Coming in at number 1 on my list for great nicknames in the NFL is Walter Sweetness Payton. And I'll tell you what, during this season, we're going to get a lot in here about Walter Payton. That was a great guy. And he was called Sweetness, right? He gets that nickname in college. The dude, from what I understand, was a sweet guy. From what I saw, he had sweet moves on the dance floor. I do believe he was on Soul Train. I'm Don Cornelius, and welcome to Soul Train. All right, another bad impression, but you get the idea. And that's my guy. I'm a Bears fan. That's the jersey I own. I want to have a jersey of a guy who's always going to be associated with the team. It was actually the first 2 extra large jersey that fit my ass when I lost all my weight. So I hang on to it. It's a little tighter now because I done gained some of that shit back. But that's my guy. Right now for this list, he comes in at number 1. But next week, we're going to hit you with a few more great NFL nicknames. Take it easy, y'all. Peace. Hey, if I made you laugh, made you think, or even made you smile, please tell all your friends. If I didn't, just keep that shit to yourself. Thanks for listening to The Shawn Mackey Show.